Okay, we're recording.
Love how you say you look terrible when, hello, I haven't slept and I'm still in my pajamas, PJs.
You know, you look good. It's just your outfit is for the birds.
F off. Okay. All right. The fact that you even got me doing a podcast,
I
I
know.
got
I'm
one
so
kid
glad.
watching a movie, another kid napping, the other one watching Little Bear,
Okay, so your kids, 3 out
and
of
the other
4.
one is off of skiing. She's the only one who's not sick.
She didn't go to school? Oh,
They
you
don't
have
have
school.
school this week.
Oh, that's miserable.
No, they don't have school. Nothing is covered. I'm going to go off on a rant, please.
Okay,
Nothing.
wait. Let's start with like the baseline.
Okay, fine.
3 out of
Baseline.
4 of your kids have flu A.
3 out of 4 have influenza A. Correct.
And you and your husband?
I don't know.
Who cares about the parents, right? So don't test the parents. You probably have it.
It's fine.
Okay, go off on your rant. Go.
I found this amazing drug that apparently is great. It's not like Tamiflu. Heard about it from Dr. Alyssa's song. Emily also apparently knew about it.
I heard about it from Franny, the party planner.
Franny, our party planner, is amazing. Franny's the best if you need to plan a party. This is not a what do you call it? It's not an advertisement. Is that or a sponsor, whatever you call it?
Not sponsored by Franny, the party planner, but she also gave me the tip about this drug for the flu.
Anyways, it's basically it stops the virus from replicating. So if you take it early enough, you will feel better.
Cool. I didn't even know what it was. I just knew that she told me to get it when my son had flu A, I had flu A, and I couldn't find it anywhere. My pediatrician said, I will prescribe it for you if you can find it and pay for it.
Oh yeah, that's my other rant. So you can't even find this. Luckily, we were able to find it. Dr. Alyssa's son called it all in for us. She's our kid's pediatrician.
You are so lucky that randomly a pharmacy in Colorado has it.
I know.
Not one pharmacy. We were evacuated at the time and we were in San Diego, and not one pharmacy in San Diego had this. I had CVS in San Diego check every CVS in San Diego, and they didn't have it.
Oh my God.
Continue with your rant.
Put your hair in front. It looks good. You keep putting it in the back. You have this gorgeous hair that I'm so envious of. Meanwhile, I like put like clip-on hair extensions, and she's got this gorgeous hair and she's pushing it in the back. Love you. I'm giving you a compliment.
I'll take it. It's so rare. I don't know what to say.
Well, you shut up. Okay. All right. This is my rant. A, it's not covered by insurance. B, it's impossible to get. C, if you have the flu and you work, you're SOL because you have to then take off work. This whole system is very messed up. Oh, and besides the fact that everybody keeps messaging me saying, like, how are you getting eggs? Because no one can get eggs. The whole world is just, anyways, happy thoughts.
So did we mention the prescription's called XOFluza? So you got the prescription.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's supposed to make them feel better within 24 hours, but I have a whole bunch of remedies that I was using before. I tested them with an over-the-counter test. You can get those now for COVID, influenza A, influenza B. And it popped up right away with influenza A on all 3 of them. So like literally you're supposed to wait 15 minutes and it popped up within like less than 5. And I was like, all right.
What made you finally agree to test them?
My nanny.
What'd she say? I want to hear.
Like,
I was trying to convince you.
Them. And I was like, what's the point? She's like, let's just do it. So when I called Dr. Song and she said that, there's this amazing medication now, my nanny was like, I get 50% credit because we would have never known that it was influenza A. I was like, 100%. You totally get the credit. I don't get the credit. Not at all. Because I was not going to test them because I just say, you're sick. You deal with it. It's fine.
I told you to test them, but you didn't want to. And secondly, I didn't tell you about XOFluza because I figured you wouldn't listen to me on getting a medication. You would just do your elderberry or whatever.
Usually, yes, I would say usually tough it out. We're supposed to go back to LA for my husband's work stuff, and we have a family event. So yeah, it's a little up there. And Dr. Song is not prescription like happy. So she very much believes in this. And she was telling me at first it was for like kids that were 12 and up. Then they researched it more and gave it for kids 5 and up. And, soon, it'll be for toddlers and stuff. So yeah, I'm just glad that we're doing that and doing all my other remedies. I think people jump to give like the fever reducers and don't let kids have a fever. We're so like jump happy to be like, all right, we have to cure everything and make sure they feel nothing. And of course, you don't want your kid to feel crappy and uncomfortable. And especially at night. Night is when I'm more willing to give a fever reducer. I personally prefer like a diphenhydramine, like an ibuprofen, versus an acetaminophen, which is like Tylenol, just because acetaminophen depletes your glutathione, which is your like master antioxidant.
Can you just take it and, like, stock up on glutathione later?
You totally can. Glutathione tastes like ass. Am I allowed to say that word? Is that a cuss word? It does not taste good. Literally, I can smell it when I'm giving it to the kids, and it smells like fart.
I don't mind the taste of it. I take it regularly because my doctor said to take it after the fires and, like,
Oh,
detox.
because it is your master antioxidant. It does help with repairing what's going on in your lungs with the fires and stuff. And that's why my daughter who has viral induced asthma, she takes it every day. But then when she's sick, there's like a whole sick protocol where she doubles up on certain things.
So today, the people have come for the protocols. We got the flu, we got the cold, we got pink eye is one, norovirus is one, COVID, I think. I don't even know if that matters anymore. And that's all we got.
I should have probably prefaced this by saying I am not a medical physician, nor have I ever said I was. People get really frustrated with that. Never said I was a medical physician.
Here's what she's doing for her kids, what we did for our kids. If it works for you, great. Always check with your doctor.
Everybody in my family is a physician. I had a brief stint with thinking I was going to go to medical school, but didn't want to do that.
But here
So,
we are.
but here we are.
Okay. So the flu.
Okay.
So the flu protocol, we heard about the XOFluza, which is like hopefully a miracle drug, but nobody else can get it. What other things can we do?
Oh, I happen to have this on the desk right here. The oxylucosinum. It's this flu
Or
homeopathic.
it's made by Boreon.
Yeah, by boron. And you take it like I think it's like 4 times a day.
A lot. You take it. There's like a
Yeah,
lot of them.
there's a lot of them. And you got to take it right when you get it.
I did that
So,
when I had the flu.
when you had the flu, did it help?
The flu A is really rough. I mean, hopefully it did help, but I had a really rough go of it. My son and my husband didn't as much. It just depends on the person. It's weird. I know your
Because
year-old is not, she's doing well, and the others are not.
yeah, my oldest daughter, I think we didn't test her, but she was the one who first had the symptom of like a sore throat. And then the next day she was fine.
Yeah.
But she listens to me. I gave her this. I gave her the homeopathic for the flu. I gave her elderberry 4 times in the day. I gave her a double dose of zinc twice a day. And I did the Loombox on her neck and her chest twice a day. And then I put onions on her feet and I gave her a cup of bone broth, onions on the bottom of her feet with like a sock. And then I gave her a cup of bone broth and she went to sleep and then she woke up the next day and she was fine.
That's amazing.
That said, it's like different people have different immune systems and how they work. Obviously, when you have kids that are toddlers or younger children, they're more likely to have an immune system that's not as developed. So they're going to get sick more often.
Also, I have written down, you also avoid sugar, which is a big one for me too. I think that
Because
helps so
people
much.
don't
You tell me
realize that the big sick season is like between October and usually January, February. And that when you think about it, all the holidays with sugar are all in there, right? You
thought
know,
about it last week with that Valentine's Day. It's like treats after treats after treats. And here
yep.
we are.
Yeah, and then people all come down and get sick. Sugar literally makes your immune system worse. Now, you're not going to deprive your kid of sugar, but you're going to balance. So, like when my kids went out, we went out to a big family dinner with a bunch of friends on Sunday, and my oldest was like, "Oh, I want to try this like Japanese soda because all the other kids were having it." And I explained it to him. I said, "It's up to you. It is literally full of sugar. Look at the ingredients, but I'll let you make the call." He's almost 11, you know, up to you. He drank it, the entire thing. He also had dessert. It was a lot on his body. And then the next morning he woke up like crap. And he said to me, he's like, I should have listened. Which for me was like, "Ha
I
sorry.
told you
I
so.
told you that." I didn't say that. I said, "Well, I get it. It happens, and we're supposed to make mistakes and see what works for our body and what doesn't." And his sister, his oldest the oldest daughter that I have, she only had a little bit of that Japanese soda thing and a bite of the dessert, right? And she didn't take down all of it, and she did all my remedies. So it's just I think it's all about balance. But let's go back.
So you're sitting pretty right now because you were right about all that.
Pretty much, I've made me definitely feel great because when he said that.
I know. So I think that, I mean, and we'll attach to this podcast the medicine cabinet thing that you have on the blog, which is basically like all the packs, like the flu pack, the cold pack, the bruise pack, the whatever pack. You don't have a
No, I
pink eye
have, like
pack.
I don't have a bruise pack, but I did you just make that crap up?
No, there was one on there.
What? Bruise pack?
Like for bruises and like
I
there's
don't think
like
I call it bruise pack, but that's really funny. Is it really titled that?
first of all, it didn't have a title. It just had arnica, la, 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 and I had to put a title. I don't know what I put, but it's something
So
along
you're
those
just
lines.
making up crap? Okay, good to know. Okay. Anyways, no, where she's talking about like one for flu, one for ear infection, one for allergy, one for stomach flu. So there's different. So that way you can grab that pack and it's also easy to travel with, but then it's also already organized for you. So anytime I run out of something or I use it, I'll write down that when I got it and then I write the expiration date. So then
Okay, that's too organized.
that
Like I
that's because I
you
need
got
to
me
with
into the bags, the packs, which are super easy for like even the most busy whatever, mom. You can just put these packs together and have all the stuff. And sometimes you run out and sometimes they're expired, but that's anything.
It's okay. I gave my kid expired supplements the other day, and I'm like, "Oops." It's fine.
Again,
It
not a
works.
doctor. The for the cold, what are your tips? Because a lot of people seem to have this never-ending cold. Oh, by the way, I should mention that we got a DM from a person who was working in the ER this weekend in Long Beach, and she said the ER wait was 22 hours. So for all the moms who think that they're alone in this, they're definitely not. There's so much going on and out there.
Yeah, 22 hours, that's just wild to me. Basically, things you wanna look for just to be mindful, like, what I look for is if your child's under 12 weeks and has a fever, you go to the ER because it might be something more serious. If your child's having trouble breathing, if you see any wheezing, something that I always have and recommend is a pulse ox that you put on their little finger, a children's one, and we'll link that here. Always have that. And it's different if you're at altitude versus at sea level where there's oxygen should be at. So that's something to be mindful of, especially if you have a child who has asthma or if they have eczema and food allergies, they're more likely to develop asthma. So something to keep in mind when your child gets sick. A lot of people tell me that they've never even heard of viral induced asthma and that I gave them a name for it, which I didn't give them the name. They found out about it, I guess. But I had gone to one of the top specialists, which is in Denver, the National Jewish Health, and that's the top specialist for respiratory health. And so that's where I see my daughter who has viral induced asthma. She has a pediatric pulmonologist there. And this is where I learned about the different types of medications that are better, that have less side effects. Side rant that they are not covered by insurance, which is, don't get me started. And then doctors don't even tell you about it because they're not covered by insurance, even though they have less side effects.
Well,
So
I think
crazy.
that's what happened with the XOFluza. I mean, one of my friends who's a doctor in New York, she never even heard of it. And she's like, I don't know anything about that. So
Hmm.
why are these things not being like, I don't know. How do doctors learn about new?
Oh, well, that's why you take continuing ed courses and education. You read up on the research. Depends. Some people have time to read up on the research. Some people don't. Yeah, it's hard, but that's why you don't. There's not. You can take a bunch of different types of continuing ed courses, like CE courses, and you do that for psychology. You do that for medicine, and you have to do that to keep up your license, right? Uh, but it doesn't matter, like which ones you take, as long as you get a certain number of credits. That's all you need. So it
Oh,
just depends. Some people learn more than others. That's a harder one for me to answer.
Okay, so going back to the common cold and really knowing the difference between what's serious and what's not serious. I know you offer like all kinds of, you have many great recipes of which that are everywhere on your site, like the
Like the cough
pineapple
suppressants.
drink, cough
Yeah.
suppressants.
Well, that's one is like for like a wet cough, one for more of a dry cough.
Wait, which one's for the wet cough? Which one's for the dry cough? I think we should explain
I'm laughing at
for
you.
those who are confused. For
No,
the
everybody else can be confused. You shouldn't be.
oh, I'm not supposed to be confused. Well,
No,
let's clear it up
you
once and for
post it.
all.
Oh my goodness. All right. The one with the pineapple,
Yeah,
because it has an enzyme called bromelain in it, which helps with wet coughs. That is the one that's for a wet cough. Like that wet mucusy like
got it.
cough. The dry cough is the one that the other one is like the onion with the lots of it's like more syrupy.
Got it. Okay. Both of those, I actually could drink that pineapple one like daily if I wanted to. It feels so good. It's like, even though
Right?
it's for a wet cough, it's like, I don't
No,
know.
you can take it for a dry cough too. It's just I mean, it
I
has a
got
lot of things that are anti-inflammatory in it.
once I had the strength when I had flu A, I made that on the regular. It felt, I don't, you might want to make that for your kids. Like it felt so good.
I will.
Um,
I made the chamomile honey popsicles. Actually, I didn't make it. My oldest daughter made them last night because she's like, "Well, what can I do to help?" I was like,
oh,
"Can you
that's
go
so
steep some
nice.
chamomile tea?" She's like, "I think I can do it." I was like, "I think you can too."
By the way, give them lots of extra hugs. I read a Instagram post that hugs help.
Oh, on the psychology post today or whatever. Do you love that I know exactly what you read?
We
Because I
follow
think
the same things.
or we just have the same algorithm targeting us. Let's talk about what I do as a parent to try and prevent getting sick. Knock on wood right now. First thing I do, sleep. You can dream, but try to sleep. Don't stay up on your phone scrolling. I put everything away and try to go to sleep right when I get the kids down. Just because inevitably one will wake you up, if not more, which has happened to me the last few nights. Number two, I don't skimp out on all my supplements. I take them all, right? All my daily supplements that I take. In addition to that, I take a double dose of ionic zinc for an adult. And then I also take elderberry 4 times a day because that's just shown to shorten the duration of a cold, right? The other thing I do is I take a clove of garlic and I mash it up and then I put it in a spoonful of honey. You will be burping up garlic, but you take that and you swallow it because garlic is highly antibacterial, antimicrobial. So it just helps. So I always do that.
I swallow it whole because I'm badass like that.
You shouldn't swallow it whole. You should cut it up because
I
then it
mean, cut it
releases.
up, but no honey is what I meant.
Seriously, you do it without the honey?
Yeah, because you first told me about it without the honey. I don't know if you were just trying to torture me or whatever. And so I did that, and then I just got used to it, and then I never added the honey back. So thanks,
Okay,
I
I'm
guess.
impressed. Sorry if I tried to torture you. It's very possible. Well, I was
Yes.
annoyed with you one day.
Yeah, thank you. That's what
Um,
sisters are for.
okay, the other thing I do is bone broth. People don't realize how incredibly healing and nourishing bone broth is, and I will drink bone broth like on the hour. And I got a question about how do you get your kids to drink bone broth?
It goes back to that podcast about educating your kids without scaring them. So, like, you do a really great job and have helped me teach my kid about like red dyes or things like not having Gatorade at a soccer game or things like that, and educating him on the benefits of bone broth. And they just want to get better when they're sick, like they
Yeah.
really do. So, knowing that that's going to heal your body is like a motivation in itself.
It is. What I would recommend though, try to do it before they get sick. So have bone broth every once in a while when you're not sick because it's easier to convince them of the benefits when they are not sick. Because when they're sick, they're just sometimes so miserable that they won't do anything. So a lot of the times it's really just about talking to them like these are things that help your body. If you want to stay feeling sick longer, I totally get it. You can. It's just I feel bad and I'm not trying to hurt you. This is me trying to help you. I'll do it with you. We can watch something together. This is where I throw screen time rules out the door. Obviously, for me, I still go with content. My girls were all watching Little Bear. And they all think it's funny. They're like, it's from like 1997. Like, that's so long ago. I'm like, wow, I feel really old. Anyways, and my oldest, he has his movies that he can watch because he's almost 11. And we do like a weekly, movie night with him. So this is why I throw the screens out the door. And I find that they're more likely to drink or eat something when they're watching screens, which is why I don't recommend watching screens when a child is eating, because they're just passively eating and not paying attention to those satiation cues. So when they're sick, totally do it. I find that it helps a lot more. And straws are fun. Straws are more fun to get kids to drink things. Also, bone broth might taste funky. So I add like a little bit of lemon. I add some salt. I add some different herbs to it, like parsley or dill, depending on kind of what you like. And then like a crack of pepper to spice it up to make it taste a little bit better.
Yeah, that helps.
And then the other thing that I do to prevent it for myself, I usually use my limb box every night anyways, but I'll put it behind my neck, but I'll put it in front on my chest and on my neck if the kids are sick, just to kind of help speed things along.
That makes sense. Okay, we haven't talked about norovirus, aka the stomach bug from hell.
We had it, was it 2 years ago or 3 years? I think it was 2 years ago where we all got it and we were traveling. And then my oldest daughter got it and she was on the plane and she never gets sick. And she like says to us, like, I'm not feeling great on the way to the airport. And I thought, oh, that's weird. She never complains. I was like, something's wrong. And we're on the plane. She threw up. Luckily, my husband, who could handle throw up more than anybody else.
Thinking about it.
Oh, no, I know. That would make me throw up. Anyways, activated charcoal. Mary Ruth Organics has a great one.
When do you give that? So they throw up and then what?
And then I make them take it.
Right after they throw up, won't they throw it up again?
Well, I mean, obviously give them a little bit of time to cool off. But activated charcoal, I think people don't realize. Some people take it all the time. You should not be taking it all the time. It literally takes out all the toxins, but it also takes out all the good minerals from your body too. So, for the stomach bug, works great, at least for our family, and that's what we do. So I gave her the activated charcoal. She felt better. She stopped throwing up. And little bits of coconut water, like staying hydrated, do not matter. It does not matter if your kids eat. Like my kids barely eat. They don't eat anything actually when they have a stomach bug. Right. It's just making sure your kids stay hydrated. For a baby, it's different. They have this little, I'm blanking on the name. Oh, we're going to have to look this up, Emily. Give me a minute.
What is it referring to?
It's this little indentation on a baby's head that you can feel if it's too indented when they are dehydrated. They have a few fontanelles, right? And right here on the top, if it's really depressed and it's sunken in more, your baby is really dehydrated. And so that's something to be mindful of when your kids have the stomach bug or just sick in general. And so that's something to look out for and let your doctor know, especially in a baby. But that's always a little tip that I used to tell my husband about when my kids were little.
I think the hard thing with the norovirus is that aren't you contagious for the 5 days after?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's keeping their kid home for 6 days, let's be honest. So it went like wildfire through our grade. Thankfully, somehow my son didn't get it. And I was off in Cabo with you. So I didn't really, but I saw the text and I was like, oh, poor kids.
No, so yeah, activated charcoal is something I always travel with. I travel with this oxycilium, whatever from boron. I always take lemon balm with me because that I give to kids, the Mary Ruth Organics lemon balm. I give that to kids when they have a fever. And I find that it helps reduce the fever by a degree to make them a little bit more comfortable. I also give them the Apis belladonna. It is a homeopathic from Uriel. I always keep that on hand. They're like the little sugar pellets. Make sure not to touch them with your hand when you dump it out to put it back in. You're like, oh, I'm going to dump out 20 and then I just need 5 and then dump it back in. Don't do that. That's something I always carry on me. And then oregano oil from Mary Ruth Organics. I always take if anybody's sick. Just don't take it if you're breastfeeding.
Or if you have a stomach issues.
You're right. If you have gut issues, don't take that because it'll mess up your gut even more. But oregano oil. It tastes awful, but if you can get 5 to 10 drops in a glass of water, Uncle Chow likes to show off and be like, I can take 15 drops. Look at this. It's not bad. I can chug it. And then he's like, oh, wait. And then he like tries to
Just
go
take the
vomit it up.
pill.
What?
I said, just take the pill.
I like liquid versions of things. I don't know why. I feel like it, especially, I mean, for sure not gummy. Like I don't do any gummies.
Because
Versions of anything. It's not as bioavailable.
we
It's
should explain the
horrible for
two
your
reasons
teeth.
you don't do the sugar. And also the thing that you explained to me about like when they're making the gummies, it's not evenly distributed what's in each gummy if you think about it logistically, right?
We were talking about that in terms of drugs, but sure.
No, you told me that in terms of kids' vitamins, and then I threw that back at you in terms of drugs on a later occasion. So
But yes,
there's that.
gummies, yes. I think it's harder to A, not bioavailable, B, you don't know how much is in each section of the gummy, like Emily was saying, and C, they get stuck in your teeth. They're horrible for your teeth. And indeed, they usually add so much sugar or artificial dyes to them that it's just, what's the point?
Okay, let's talk. Last thing is the pink eye.
Most pink eye is viral, but it's hard to know because there's no test for it. So,
But if they
you
don't
know,
have a fever, it's mostly viral, right?
most likely, at least what I've seen, and the kids, with my kids, I take breast milk and I put it on their eyes, even if you have like expired breast milk, which I still have a freezer worth of expired breast milk. I don't know why I'm saving it. I just do, but for reasons like that. I wish they had more homeopathic eye drops on the market. They used to have this great brand called Similacin, but they
It
got
was the best.
discontinued over here. You can get them in Europe, but you can't get
I
them
know.
here.
I said to my husband the other day, I'm like, I would go to Europe at this point just to get those eye drops instead bring home a suitcase. I swear. It's like stuff was so good.
It's really interesting what things they allow here versus not in other countries or vice versa.
That stuff you used to put in your eye and the pink eye be gone like that.
Yep.
I also saw that Tasha Rose, herbalist, had pink eye a couple weeks ago, and she was putting chamomile tea bags on her
Yeah.
eyes.
It's anti-inflammatory. Yeah. I do chamomile tea bags when you go to sunburn. I put them on, but you do it like ice cold, the chamomile tea bags, like from traditional medicinals. And then
Mhm.
you put them on, like I put them all over like the sunburn.
By the way, you were talking about lemon balm. I love the traditional medicinal lemon balm tea.
Mm,
That was fine. It's very good.
that is also so good. I love lemon balm.
Let's end with
My
your
weird things that definitely have no evidence,
the
but
onions on the
work.
feet, garlic on the feet thing. Okay, go ahead.
My husband will always know if I'm sick when he will walk into our bedroom at night and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you're sick," because it smells and reeks of onions. I will have red onions on the bottom of my feet with socks over it. I'll have a bowl of red onions sitting next to me. I am such a believer in this. And as far as I can see, the red, or at least have read, there's no evidence for this whatsoever. But a lot of people back in the day, during the plague, when the plague was going on, people did this and it
My
worked for
husband's
them,
family did it too. They're like very Eastern European, like
right? My,
they
you know,
they're all for the onions on the feet,
all the
garlic.
Eastern Europeans, they totally all did that. And then if you've got a fever, the wet sock thing I find works. It's just very difficult to get a kid to put wet socks on. So
I
that's
don't
why I
know. My
like to
son
do
loves it. You call it magic sock. It totally works.
magic socks. Your son is more flexible sometimes than other kids in terms of like listening with certain remedies. But that's why I like the lukewarm bath with the Marybruth Organics iodine, or if you don't have iodine, just like slice some lemons and squeeze the
Wait,
lemons.
explain the magic socks.
Okay, the magic socks. Sorry, this is me on very little sleep. The magic socks. So you take a slice of red onion, put it on the bottom, like on like the arch of their foot. Then you take a wet sock, preferably cotton,
Oh, I do it without
or
the onion.
wool.
Yeah,
You could do
okay.
it without the onion. I like the onion. I find that it helps like draw out toxins, I think. No evidence for that. And then you do the wet sock over, and then you do a dry wool sock on top. And so they don't obviously shiver or get cold or anything like that, but it helps reduce the fever. So it makes it easier for them to sleep at night.
And then when you wake up in the morning, the socks are dry.
Right.
And
And the
that's why they
fever
call
is
it
usually
magic
gone.
shock, like, and you feel better. It's like
And this is
magic.
like things that I did when I was pregnant because you can't take anything when you're pregnant,
Mm,
especially if you have a cold. So, like, whenever I had a cold when I was pregnant, our room would reek of red onions and I'd have wet socks and all that on.
amazing. Okay. Well, I hope your kids feel better.
Thank you. Hopefully, everybody's handling all the sickness out there
Yeah,
with a
stay
little bit
healthy,
of
everyone. See
ease.
the links. See the links for
See all the
all.
links below.